me kind of stepping back from that player role into more managerial role. But I think PT Lamb is very well suited to do great stuff for this team. We're halfway through the draft already, Jackson.
Let's just quickly run down what we've missed. It's going to be Saw Band, Vox Band, two heroes that did perform very well when we saw them last week, but Lyra gets through. So GankStars, they're going to snatch that one up immediately. We got Catherine Kestrel on the other side. Talk me through this draft. How's it going for both of these teams?
Well, Snow knew exactly what they wanted to do here. Being on red, they had the first two picks. They let Lyra through, and they countered it with the Catherine and the Kestrel. It's a very nice play here. Catherine, she's going to control this area. Big burst damage that's going to come out is going to be spread and reflected back. She has the Blast Tremor, which is a huge AoE silence, and it's great against Lyra.
Yeah, it really is. Plus the fact that you can move more freely than most heroes within her Bright Bulwark. Using Merciless Pursuit can be very, very strong. Let's talk about the Kestrel as well, though, because Kestrel, the fact that you can stay out of range of Lyra for quite large portions of the fight and stop that engage from being quite as crushing can be very important. The full lineup has been locked in for both of these teams, so let's quickly break that down, though.
Yeah, well, one of the things I'm noticing here is that we actually have Techno in this game, so it's going to be...
Humanist. Very well-dressed men today, I must admit. Gorgeous suit coming out from AJ with the white suit, but we are on to the Halcyon Fold. This game, a rematch of the semi-finals from last week where we saw GankStars taking it in a 2-0. Jinyi, do you think that's what's going to happen this week as well?
Well, like they said, like AJ and Humanist said at the start, things are a bit changed. We don't see Leon, the All-Star playing, coming out from GankStars Cerberus, and also we see Look At Me stepping in place of PT Lamb here, so it's certainly going to be a bit different. Last time Snow lost 0-2 against GankStars Cerberus. I think they could put up a good fight because they've had some good matches against G2 King in the past. They're still strong, and especially with Snow Avalanche winning the Challenger Series from last week, I think they're on a momentum, like as a whole team, that I think it's going to be quite difficult for GankStars Cerberus to try and fight back here.
One of the big things we've seen with 119 is the rise of Lyra, both in that roam role and in the lane as well in solo queue. It's all picked really strong into it. There's a lot of damage coming down here already. Arakizor is going to try and fight against Araxi off towards the side, and Look At Me is down. It's first blood to GankStars. They're going to chase Araxi off towards the side. Sasiska not in a good position at all. Araxi might go down here. Arakizor does pick up the kill, and now Sasiska, well in enemy territory, has no way of escaping from Techno JJ here, who will just be able to clean up that kill. It's not an ace, but it's 3 kills for GankStars Cerberus early in the game.
Yeah, those were very fast kills picked up. And I think I was a little bit kind of questioning Look At Me's positioning. He's got a very long range in the game. He was kind of very, very close, making it very easy for Techno JJ and Amar King to try and get some damage down there. But if we looked at the kill there onto onto Araxi in the lane, it was really good. We saw Amar King using his Imperial Sigil to try and give the speed boost to Arakizar so he could finish off the kill. That was really nicely done. And I think we're 2 minutes into the game, 3 kills up. It's looking good here so far for GankStars Cerberus.
Definitely is, and they've got this sort of composition that can snowball against Team Snow really, really well. Glaive and Lyra, so strong when you get that pressure into the enemy jungle.
Yeah, I find it interesting that Emer King picked up the Iron Guard contract first, because the way the Imperial Sigil works, you get more burst heal with health. So I was kind of wondering why he didn't go for a Dragonheart there straight away. Not Dragonheart. An Oak Heart straight away.
Oak Heart, yeah. I think it's like, especially on Lyra, the itemization choices aren't as clear cut as perhaps on some of the other heroes that we've had around for a lot longer. And with all of the new Iron Guards coming in as well, all of the new contracts, there's a lot more that you can do and a lot more you can set up for your team.
Oh, definitely, yeah, but I just thought because he has the healing in there already, that does a lot of healing very early on. I was kind of questioning why he needs an Iron Guard contract for the jungle clear. But, I think it's a matter of opinion, but it's been working out so well for them so far.
Yeah, especially, I mean, he hasn't actually spent that much time in the jungle in the last few minutes. He's been sitting in this lane with Arakizoro, keeping him safe from Araxi and from Sasiska, and we just see Techno JJ farming up on that Glaive. Is there a power point coming up soon where GankStars Cerberus can try and force another fight?
Well, I think the thing with Glaive, Arakizoro on that Ringo, he's very strong. He's known for having the tension bows in like the quickest amount of time possible. We can do it in like 3 minutes. Absolutely insane. He's so good at the CS. And the thing with Techno JJ as well, and that Glaive is really good at the early stage before Araxi can get that reflex block because of the power to use that afterburn to kind of punt Araxi into the middle, and they can really quickly finish the kill off. So I think right now they're much stronger than Snow Tsunami in terms of power, and I think once they get to the mid and late game, they're going to have to be a bit more careful because Pestle certainly get that power spike in the mid game.
And Pestle is so strong into Lyra as well, one of those heroes that isn't really affected by that Bright Bulwark, that movement ability, just because Petal doesn't really need to jump around that much. You're using your Bramble Boon Seeds, you're using a lot of damage. Yes, the trampoline can come out, but a lot of the time you're just there, slowly allowing your minions to kill the enemy heroes.
Yeah, and I think what GankStars Cerberus should be doing is they need to try and focus in Araxi, because Araxi, he's got an incredible zoning power. He can just poke away with those glimmer shots, and unless he can get right on top of him, it's going to be very difficult for them to take him down. And with Emer King on that Lyra, they can certainly do that if they manage to get a bulwark into her, trap her, and then focus her down really quickly, which is what they need to do, and just kind of forget about Petal a little bit, or just kind of zone Petal out and just kind of peel away and get Araxi away.
And talking of getting Araxi away, they do it beautifully. Bright Bulwark into the Afterburn. Techno JJ helps them pick up the kill. Gorgeous play there by GankStars Cerberus, really using timings perfectly as they came in for that gank.
Yeah, that was really nicely done with the Afterburn and timed with Bulwark. You're absolutely right. Really nicely played so far. They're 4-0 right now at 5 minutes. It's looking pretty good in terms of goal difference. It's relatively close so far. I would say GankStars Cerberus are slowly creeping in. We see, what's happening here?
Iraqi's always going to get caught out a little bit. Emer King was very low, was trying to take away that healing camp and wasn't able to sneak it away here from Team Snow. Perhaps a little bit greedy for them, especially since Techno JJ wasn't with the fight at all. So now Snow have the chance to push up this lane and try and reposition around GankStars Cerberus.
Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're adding a lot of pressure there onto Rakizaro, and it's kind of a 3v2 situation here. We're just seeing Techno JJ just kind of happily farming away. We've seen him in the snow side, so he's 44 minions to look at me. He's 28. He's, that's an advantage that will slowly draw forward. And when he gets a Sora Blade, I think that will be a really nice power spec for him in terms of the damage that he will be outputting. And if he continues just doing what he's doing, because we've been seeing GankStars Cerberus laying down some good vision, preventing any invades, we're not seeing the same coming out from Snow, so it's much easier for Techno to invade.
Definitely is, and Emer King just trying to, as you say, spot out, look at me, put that flare down, just see what's going on. So Cisco is just around the side here, but Techno JJ is waiting for his opportunity to engage. Irakazoro is going to join them in just a second. The flare comes out, it's going to spot out Techno. A lot of damage onto look at me, he gets stunned into the wall. Will he be able to escape? No, he won't, as he goes down. So Cisco, the new target, and Techno JJ is going to dive underneath the turret. Araxi there as well. They decide just to back away. Actually, Emer King is not willing to sacrifice this one just yet. Does back away eventually. Not able to pick up the kill with
Very
that A ability.
Very aggressive coming out there from Emer King. It was, it could have paid off if he just managed to land the Imperial Sigil into the bush, I think, but, he managed to bullet him away. This is a good time for GankStars Cerberus to be taking the gold mine, which they're doing, and, they're not going to get any contest from it, which is also great, unless we see the one-shot, one-kill coming out from Kestrel, but I think they're standing in position to block that happening. So it looks like, yeah, that's a lot of gold there going towards GankStars Cerberus.
And this is the thing, with early kills, those 3 early kills, although it was only about 500 gold the difference between GankStars and Team Snow, it's allowed them just to bit by bit chunk away at any advantage Team Snow could take. They've taken away the jungle camps, they've taken away the gold mine, they've taken away a couple of more kills as well, and it makes it so difficult for Snow to get any sort of foothold into the game.
Yeah, exactly. And in the previous games we've seen, it looks like a fight's breaking out there with that one-shot, one-kill.
One shot, one kill is not enough. Iraxi's going to get taken down. Irakizoro is out of the fray as well. They're going to try and focus down onto Cisco, but Emer King and Techno JJ will accept a 1-for-1. The first kill of the game for Team Snow, but once again, GankStars Cerberus do not leave empty-handed.
Yeah, that was nice. The one-shot, one-kill was a good engage there coming up from Raxi, but he is so squishy. He was very easy for them to catch him out there, and I think the problem was, and I think with Sasiska and look at me, Sasiska's the one that has to protect them, and as a frontliner can do a lot of job, but look at me, he's not really a tanky jungler. Sasiska's gonna have a tough time trying to protect look at me and Araxi, but Araxi doesn't really have an escape apart from the active camo, which does use a lot of energy.
Energy is definitely something all of these teams are going to be focusing on. Emer King's going to get jumped on here. Look at me trying to put the damage down. Rakazoa will take a couple of minion shots, but not too many thus far. Now they're going to turn it around because the Afterburn comes out, and that is a very dead Petal. That flower did not last for long at all as she goes down. It's 7 kills to 1. One shot, one kill will be tanked up by Emer King. Emer Kill is what he's been trying to do throughout this game. Afterburn comes onto Araxi, knocks him into the wall. The Hellfire Brew is there as well. Irakizoro does get the kill and will get away with his life as well. Bulwark just to stop Sasuke trying to get in for that engage. Great fighting here from GankStars Cerberus.
Yeah, that was such a nice fountain there coming up from Emer King, just keeping Irakizoro alive, and then the Bulwark just keeping him out. Though looks like Sasuke's trying to stop him from there, and look at me is here, so I think this is a bit of an overstay on his side, and that is going to be a kill there going towards Tsunami.
Yes, no Tsunami picking up their second kill of the game. However, they are still 2,000 gold in arrears in this matchup. Just see GankStars Cerberus doing everything they can, perhaps being a little bit over-aggressive and staying around too long there. Irakizora, as you say, getting caught out, but at the moment, if you're GankStars, you are very happy with the way this game is going.
Yeah, definitely. We do see Snow Tsunami taking those front two camps, but they're really not going to give that much. And I think it's really interesting. You know, we didn't see GankStars Cerberus taking that front turret, which would have been absolutely incredible at this stage of the game. But what I really do want to point out right now is that we've been seeing Techno JJ and Irakizora building armor from very early stage. And we're not seeing Snow Tsunami kind of counter with any armor. We see Look At Me and Araxi sitting with the light armor, and so Cisco's just picked up total plates there. You know, they really need to start building armor a little bit quicker to get that pauldrons and negate the damage coming out from Irakizora and Techno.
Yeah, that's all weapon power damage coming out here from GankStars Cerberus, and it's so easy to counter if you play it properly. Like, just build your armor and you can keep yourself defensive. We've seen it in the past that teams don't even go for that aggressive first item. They just build straight into the defense and then win the game because it gets too far in and the enemy is just not doing any damage to you. Speaking of damage though, Imaking's going to get stunned up here. So Siska's trying to engage onto him, but they're not going to go in too far into the jungle. They know that Techno JJ is waiting, and GankStars Cerberus are going to start the gold mine once again.
Yeah, they're playing very cautiously, and I think part of the reason is because Techno JJ and Irakizora, well, Irakizora's just picked up that bone, so Techno JJ with that piercing spear, it's going to kind of just counteract any armor that they've got, and it's not going to be a good fight, despite the fact that Ymar King was low health. He's got that heal, he's got a fountain that they knew that he hadn't used. It was not a good fight.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was the right decision that they just pulled back and said, well, we'll let them have the gold mine.
And the Crucible has been finished along with that fountain for Ymar King, so he's in a beautiful position for the roam at the moment. No Crucible on the other side. However, there's not a huge amount you want to Crucible. Perhaps the Bulwark or the Afterburn as well. Hellfire Brew, of course, can be Crucibled, but no real hard CC if you're positioning yourself properly and staying away from that Afterburn.
Yeah, you know, if you're going to try to block that Afterburn, you kind of want the individual hero to have that reflex block themselves, because... And you're right, Siska doesn't really need to have that Crucible, where Ymar King, he can block that silence, but he also, the bonus health will give him a lot of that kind of extra burst heal, which will be so useful in those crucial team fights. And that one-shot one kill!
Ymar King's doing a great job of positioning in front of it though, like stopping it from hitting too much onto Irakizora is really important. Actually, we do see the engage here. Techno JJ's going to try and jump in, the Afterburn onto Araxi, knocks him back, but Araxi's still alive. Now he goes down, and GankStars Cerberus do not want Siska. They're trying to get on to Look At Me. They won't be able to pick him up, but they accept just the one kill, and now they're going to try and push onto this turret.
I really like how that team fight went out there for GankStars Cerberus. So we saw Ymar King using the portal. He ported to get him closer to Snow Tsunami, and then we saw an Afterburn coming out from Techno JJ of Araxi, punting him back into the bulwark, which was absolutely fantastic, slowing him down, and they were so easily able to pick up the kill there. And that turret's going to go down.
The turret goes down, and Look At Me had been afterburned into the team. There's no way he was going to get away from that. Tried to take down Irakizora in response, but look at the Imperial Sigil heal. Irakizora from half health up to 3/4 quite easily, and now they can stay around, and it means that really Team Snow Tsunami have nothing they can take off the port back from Techno JJ.
Yeah, I mean, even if we look at the build Araxi, he's 0-5 and 0 right now. They're really not showing any mercy towards Araxi at all. They're focusing him so hard, and to be honest, there's just not enough. I think Cisco really needs those ward tries at the moment, just kind of get him out, get to safety, threaten the Afterburn, and then the reflex block from Araxi coming out for that Afterburn. And I think that would give them a little bit more hope, because he's still farming quite well. You know, 126 CS to Irakizara's 130. There is still hope for them, and even though GankStars Cerberus is 5k ahead, with the comeback mechanisms there on Vainglory, you know, there is a chance for it, and they just have to play it a little bit more cautiously. They need to get those pauldrons earlier, and I think then they can more confidently engage in those fights.
Yeah, I think one of the big issues for them as well, though, is Cisco is their only real form of engage, and he just has to run straight at one of the members of GankStars Cerberus. It's like, yeah, I'm just going to run at you, and you've got Arcane Passage, so you can blink away if you want, or you can Afterburn away, or you can pop the B ability for Irakizora, gain a bit of movement speed and run away, and it's very difficult for Siska actually to get on top of any GankStars Cerberus if they play it correctly.
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting seeing Techno JJ playing in the lane and in the jungle instead of Leon, because Leon is so aggressive, the games go so much faster, but we're seeing GankStars Cerberus playing a little more of the slower game. They're kind of slowly snowballing ahead, they're taking that lead, and you know, they're just constantly applying slow pressure. Very nice ball.
Look at that though. So Siska tries to engage onto Iraqi Zora, and the first kill will go down for here for GankStars Cerberus. A good bounce in means that Iraqi Zora keeps alive. Imperial Sigil as well. Now they're going to try and turn onto Araxi, who does just manage to kite back a little bit. Hellfire Brew comes out, and that will burn him down, but he's not quite going to fall. Yes, he is actually. The final tick is enough. That was a lot of damage coming out from the Hellfire Brew, and now Siska left alone to defend his turrets isn't going to be able to do much against 3 members of GankStars Cerberus.
What nice, that was a really nice pressure that they added, and that Hellfire Brew just taking Araxi down in the last second. So unfortunate, but that's exactly what they needed to get a second tower down. And GankStars Cerberus are looking in a fantastic position. That gold lead, 6k now. The Kraken will be coming out soon, and what we see happening is Tsunami's lost that positional advantage that they had with those 2 towers, and they're really going to need to establish more vision into the jungle, because what we're seeing is that we're seeing GankStars Cerberus just kind of encroaching into their jungle, taking their camps, and just denying them of money, which is so important there for Tsunami to maintain.
And we talked a lot about the sort of engaged potential of Tsunami and how they get back into this fight. We've got the Halcyon, the War Treads already picked up on to Ema King as well, so even if you try and engage onto that GankStars Cerberus team, they can just run away, or they can re-engage really quickly onto you as well. It's very difficult to get away from GankStars Cerberus, or even to get onto them, if that's what you're trying to do. And Tsunami definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place at the moment. One shot, one kill will hit onto Iraqi Zoro, but Imperial Sigil, that's a C ability for an A ability that's on like a 3-second cooldown. You can just pop Imperial Sigil again, like right now, and you've still got 35 seconds left on that one shot, one kill. There's just so little it's doing at the moment.
Yeah, Lyra is so strong in the meta right now. She offers so much utility with that slow, the heal, and the burst heal. And she's got that War Treads, she's got the Fountain and the Crucible. They offer so much bonus health, and I said before, the kind of the burst heal that comes out scales with bonus health, and that looks like a really strong engage coming out from Tsunami that they are just going to back away from.
Happy enough. The Kraken focusing Tsunami as they come around the side as well. They won't want to take too many hits from that. Ema King pops the Sigil down, will heal himself back up, and it's already back to almost full HP. And GankStars like, okay, you can go for the Kraken, we'll push the lane up, mean that you have to try and defend your turret in a second. So Siska off towards the side, going to engage onto Ema King, and this is the final chance saloon for Team Snow. One shot, one kill is not going to connect, so Siska pushes off towards the side. Look at me, is going to try and get onto that Lyra, but it's not going to be enough. They turn onto Iraqi Zoro though. A gorgeous fountain from Ema King will keep him alive, and now he takes the Dark Passage out and will survive. They do manage to pick up the kill onto Iraqi Zoro. Now Techno JJ is trying to get onto Look at Me, but Siska stuns him up, and Araxi is facing off against the Lyra off towards the side. Techno JJ is going to try and escape, but shouldn't be able to escape for too long, because Look at Me is just around towards the side. Doesn't have any crystal power. Has the crystal power, but no energy left at the moment. Araxi does pick up the kill off towards the side, and they will let Techno JJ get away. But a great fight there for Team Snow as they pick up 2.
Yeah, certainly. And I think that one kill coming out there onto Emer King could have been avoided, because we did see Emer King and Araxi having a 1v1 face-off. Emer King used his, managed the portal behind the turret, which was very safe, because he just kind of safely prevented the minions from pushing. But he decided to 1v1 Araxi, which I think was not a good decision, because Araxi has so much damage with that Sorrow Blade and Bone Saw. And I really don't think Emer King could have done much, so I think he should have just backed off there, and I think he just handed him a free kill there and gave Tsunami the confidence, I think, to kind of push a little bit more now.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, if you're a Rome, you gotta go for the 1v1. You gotta go for the plays, you know? Ema King's like, I picked up 4 kills already. I'm leading kills on my team. I've got to go for this fight, you know? So what? He's got 5 items on me. I've got to go for it. And right now they're going straight on to Look at Me. He'll survive with the fountain. There comes the afterburn. Techno JJ trying to get on to Look at Me, and that petal is metal as he goes down. Ema Kill's now going to try and escape with Techno JJ, but the one shot, one kill is enough as Araxi takes him down. Techno JJ, the last man standing for his team once again, will try and escape off towards the wall, but Araxi is there, so Siska is going to try and run in with that Catherine, see if they can get on to this glaive. He's trying to dodge his way around, but I'm not sure he'll survive for long. He's been stunned up. After buns, he will be able to escape. He was like, oh, that's enough croissants for me, I'm going to after bun away.
No more
He does manage to get away towards the turret.
Oh dear. I really like what they're doing. We're seeing Tsunami focusing on Iraqi Zoro a lot more, which is so much more important because he is so squishy. Emer King isn't really the tanky support. He's got that heal, but just didn't seem to be enough with the kind of the 3-target focus. And what I love so much is we're seeing Siska with that aftershock. He's dealing some damage himself as a roam, and especially if you can just land those continuous stuns and it gives him the cooldown and energy recharge that it needs, is slowly letting them crawl back into the game right now. Because before, whereas they were sitting with they're behind GankStars with 7k 7k. Now it's just 3k. You know, that's absolutely immense for them.
It's huge, and we talk about it time and time again. Weapon power falls off the later you get into the game, unless you're able to really push your advantage before, say, 20 minutes. If you have crystal power, you're going to scale so much better into the late game, especially if you've got that hybrid. So you've got a crystal carry and a weapon carry. It just means that you've got a lot more on your plate for the enemy to deal with. And now the Kraken's been started by Team Snow. It's going to go down, I think, before GankStars can get here. They're going to try and go in for it, but there goes the Kraken. It's been taken by Team Snow, and now GankStars do not want this fight. One shot, one kill hits Ema King. But Team Snow are showing why they're named Tsunami as they begin to roll the waves over GankStars Cerberus.
And they're doing so well right now. That Kraken coming back, you know, they're really going to have to try and take that Kraken down fast. So hopefully what's going to, we do see Rakizar on Techno J, there was a lot of weapon power, so they should be able to try and prevent it taking 2 turrets down. I think that turret is going to be lost though, however, and especially if you look at me with those minions, they can really kind of just, oh, that did not do anything there.
No, Hellfire Boom comes out. Look at me off towards the side. Techno JJ is very low. Look at me, he's been taken down. Araxi now the target. Techno JJ will go. But now GankStars Cerberus is going to try and get the chase. Active camo pop by Araxi. Can he escape? No! One more auto attack. Ema King. Hello. Jumps across the wall. Picks up the kill. Sasiska now trying to retreat. Iraqi Zoro is going to go for the Kraken. Sasiska should be left just to escape by himself. Kraken does pick up 2 turrets, but it's probably not the best trade there for Snow Tsunami, as they could have got more out of that if they fought the fight a little bit better.
Yeah, I love that kind of portal over for Ema King just to get onto the other side and get closer to Araxi. But what we did see that was really nice was we saw him using his Imperial Sigil to give Araxi the speed boost, try and get him closer, and also we saw the way his passive works is that the second attack coming out will slow Araxi down. And that was, you know, there's so much chase potential there, especially because Araxi has such little health. They were able to finish up the kill, but I do have to agree with you, it didn't seem that good a trade-off. The Kraken got over to the turrets, and although they were picking up the 2 kills, they weren't really able to take any advantage back from that.
I feel a bit of this that we're seeing. Petal is really great in sustained damage. Although Crystal Power Petal does have a bit of burst with that ultimate, you really need the sustained damage from your minions throughout a fight.
Yeah, and there were, you know, what we see is Ema King just try and take them down really fast, and especially with the attack speed coming from Rakizar, they can take those minions down really fast. But what's happening is Sasiska's doing such a good job cooldown. They're engaging right now with that bulwark.
Sasiska needs to try and retreat, but to jump across the wall, and Araxi is in an awful position. He does get the fountain out. Araxi will survive, but now Techno JJ is going for the chase. And now look at me, the last man who can carry this team. Sasiska's going to try and get Iraqi Zoro, but the Imperial Sigil's enough for what comes out. Sasiska shouldn't be able to escape. Techno JJ picks up the petal. Sasiska's going to go down as well. It's an ace for GankStars Cerberus.
Well, that's finally the fight that they were looking for, because they've not been doing well in the fight so far. But I think that fight certainly went a lot better for them because they were to target focus a lot better there. And Sasiska, you know, he's got the cooldown, but he just couldn't do as much, and they were able to get the ice. I'm surprised they're not going to be going for the Kraken at this stage because it's such an easy takedown. Because I thought what would happen was Techno JJ and Ema King could take down the Kraken, whilst the Rakizar pushed down a turret together.
It's alright, they might be crack-a-lacking, but at the moment they're going to get this turret and then go back and take away the minion mine, which we already see Techno JJ going for. They might even go for the Kraken now. It's only 6 seconds on Look At Me, 10 on Sasiska. Araxi is up, but it's going to have to be a very good steal here with the one-shot, one kill. He's positioning for it across towards the side, actually decides to back away and just defend behind the turret. One shot, one kill is not enough. And now the Kraken. Yeah, Kraken will go down for GankStars. Nicely done by them. They get all of the advantage they could take out of winning that team fight with the ace.
Yeah, we do see them rushing straight in, so they're clearly looking for a fight here, but we do see GankStars Cerberus all infused there, so this might not be the fight that's so good, looking so good there for Snow Tsunami.
Yeah, Sasiska positions up towards the top of it. Iraqi Zoro takes some damage. There's the blast chamber across 3 members, and Iraqi Zoro has been stunned up. Here comes Techno JJ, tries to jump on towards Araxi, but Iraqi Zoro is going to get taken out. It's a 1-for-1. Techno JJ now on the retreat. Araxi's still alive, and there's the one-shot, one kill. Sasiska gets the stun onto Ema King as well, and Araxi took the passage just for good luck there. They get the ace. Kraken is in towards their base, but they should be able to stop it before it takes too much.
That was a lovely, you know, that was a fantastic fight coming out from Snow Tsunami there. The way, oh God, the Pretend JJ, absolutely no forgiveness. But we saw Sisika using his silence at the very start, and that caught all 3 members of GankStars Cerberus. It wasn't blocked by Emer King with that Crucible, and that was so crucial because with the aftershock there, it did do a sizable amount of damage combined with Look at Me's spontaneous combustion. It really took them down to a low amount of health, forcing Emer King to waste his fountain, not waste, like to use his fountain really quickly. And then they were in a really good position to take the fight down. So they've managed to get the ace. They've stopped the Kraken from taking that last turret down, leaving the crystal exposed. But it's certainly looking a little bit more, fragile here for Snow Tsunami because they have a lot less turrets. That turret is about half health right now. What do you think?
Yeah. But 2 turrets is like a good solid defense for your base, for your crystal. If he goes down to 1, there's always the chance that you have someone like Techno JJ saying, "It's alright guys, I got this." After burning across the wall, taking down the turret, and then exposing your crystal. And one thing you never want in a game of Vainglory is an exposed crystal.
Yeah, Rakizaur's not in a great position here. A little bit too far forward.
It's alright, he's a man. He's got this, He does what he wants. He's the Rakizaur, mate.
I just don't think he knew Look at Me was that vision. That was certainly a chance for him to be caught out there. But I like how your Rakizaur is going for that crystal infusion because it does get that, because of the Hellfire Brew does do a lot of damage.
Oh, they've got passage! They're gonna arcade passage across the wall! Oh my god, GankStars Cerberus! Yes! Arcade! Passage! Across the wall, they're going for the game! But we see Team Snow have responded! The turret is low already! Techno JJ going for the turret, it's down! Iraqi-Zoro now trying to get the crystal! Techno JJ there as well, it's the first kill! GankStars Cerberus might take the crystal, will they get it? Techno JJ's alive! They don't get the crystal! It's an ace! It's an ace and Team Snow stay in the game! Oh my god!
Ouch! The death timers, there are 50 seconds of the clock. Things are not looking fantastic here for GankStars Cerberus. With those 3 turrets left, they can certainly push them down as fast as they can with those ace minions going straight towards that tower. But oh my gosh, that was a risk that they took that just did not pay off there. But it was so close with that vein.
They were spotted. I think they were spotted by a flare or something as they went across, because Snow reacted straight away. I think it was just the edge of a flare. I'd love to see that again. I'm sure if we can get it on a replay for the analysts to break down, it would be great. But Team Snow are going to take game 1 here in turnaround fashion behind the entire game. They finished the game 1,000 gold behind, but Team Snow take the crystal and take game 1 of this best of 3.
That was such a turnaround. Them trying to backdoor that crystal was a risk that just did not pay off because it quickly flipped, and Snow Tsunami were the ones to take the win there. That was such an exciting game. What we saw here was that Techno JJ and Arakizaur at the start with that double weapon power damage is really taking the lead there. But I think the biggest mistake was
because there was some interesting stuff there. So let's see what the bans are this time around. Snow Tsunami taking Saw off the board. GankStars get rid of Lyra, and it looks like Vox is going to be the first lock-in for Snow.
Oh yeah, this is a power pickup right here. Every time it's going through, I would imagine that the Vox will be picked up, unless a team has something specifically to counter it. But now GankStars, they have to think how they want to approach this. Typically, Finn one of the strongest picks, but up against a Vox, it can be devastating. So Lance makes a lot of sense here, and they want something else that's going to be able to spread and be mobile as well. I wouldn't be surprised if we've seen so much Sky coming out of EU specifically, but also this team known to pick up that Sky as well. Yeah, it kind of reveals a bit about your team if they pick this up here. Kestrel makes a lot of sense as well. You have that range, the mobility, it'd be hard to lock down.
Yeah, that's certainly something that's super important against Vox. We were actually having a chat with Tinker, one of the guys who does balance and playtesting here at Super Evil Megacorp, and he was talking about the fact that against Vox, in competitive play, Crystal can be a big struggle because everyone knows about how you need to spread out and space yourselves out during a fight.
Yeah.
Lance and Kestrel have the capability to do that, so it wouldn't surprise me if maybe Araxi went for that weapon power. Vox this game, they're going to complement it with a Catherine again, so Snow picking that twice in a row. This is something that in past seasons we've seen so little of, yet Snow picking up twice.
Well, I think people are sleeping on Catherine. She's good in so many comps, specifically against Kestrel, very good. Because as you're going to see this big burst damage coming out of Techno as the game goes on, you're going to see that reflected back with the Storm Guard if Catherine can position and do a good job there. Taka, the last pick, will be able to get into the back lines deep, find if he picks up that Atlas, get that Atlas out onto your Kestrel and delete him out.
You know, I was thinking that we might see a Finn here, and I don't necessarily like it because I think we've seen too much core lands fail so far, and that's most likely what's going to be here. But the Finn is going to work with Dr. Sona and Jing Yi as we head on to the Halcyon Fold.
Well, we are on to the Halcyon Fold, and I want to talk about what's going to happen in this game, and I want to talk about how things are going to go down, Shinyi, and I want to talk about compositions. But I think we've learned from game one, compositions really don't mean anything. Like, all it comes down to is whether or not you're able to sneeze on a Nexus, because that's all they needed to do. If they on a crystal, if they sneezed on that crystal, they would have won the game. But no sneezes. They all took their antihistamines this morning, and none of them have allergies.
Yeah.
So GankStars Cerberus 1-0 down.
Yeah, that was not that come down. I think we were all expecting the way the first game was going at the start, but it looks like Irakizaro's getting a little bit quiet there.
Yeah, he's getting a lot caught out there. He might almost go down, just about escapes. And once again, it's about the sneezing. If one of them had allergies, Irakizaro would have died there, but not quite enough damage.
Well, it is summer, so less pollen around. It's all good. But how are going to be walking into all three members of GankStars there?
Irakizaro goes very low. Araxi, though, the target. Ema King's going to retreat. We do see. But look at me. It's just like, excuse me, guys. I want some camps. I want these jungle over here. Actually just going to back away at the end. Doesn't want to get called out by GankStars Cerberus as they come around. And it's even Stevens in these early trades. No one really getting the advantage.
Oops. He's going to dodge that. He's not going to get that minion there. So I really like the pick of Taka and Vox. Taka and Vox have been heroes that we've been seeing a lot in the meta. They've been really favoured, especially Vox. We don't know yet if he's been Crystal or Weapon. We've seen a double weapon comp here. Oh no, looks like, look at me, he might be going Crystal. But Vox, he's one of those heroes that can play either way and is very strong, whichever way direction you do it. We saw Mouse Sports getting absolutely wiped out by a Crystal Vox earlier on last week. And, Vox is a very strong hero right now.
I think it's going to be Weapon Vox. I think mixing up your damage just makes a little bit more sense, and we saw Team Snow do it in the last game as well. Araxi very good at that stutter stepping, trying to kite backwards, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes for that sort of Weapon Vox that we used to see a lot more before the Crystal Vox came into favour. And look at me going Crystal Power Taka. Not something I've had good experiences with in my ranked games, I must admit. They tend to just jump in and do. Yeah, they just. It's because of the level I'm at. I'm not a very good Vainglory player. And they just jump in and then box and then run away. And it's like, well, you didn't actually do anything there. Iraki's always going to get stunned
Hello,
up.
Sona.
So Sugiso will just back away.
Hi, Sona.
We're going to have to switch back to the desk real quick. Sorry to interrupt you guys. We did have a slight technical problem there, as you guys may have seen. So, let's talk about what we've seen so far. Talk about the compositions a little bit more. How are you feeling about this game?
I mean, it's just started. There was a lot of talk about sneezing and these kinds of things, but I think both teams looking really good. I'm happy that the Vox was picked up over here for Snow and paired up with the Catherine. I really like this composition.
I'm surprised no one sneezed on the crystal there, because it is a summer map. There's a lot of pollen on the Halcyon Fold, but we're going to be handing it back to the casters real quick. Sorry for that brief delay. Dr. Sona, Jingi, take it away.
So I was already having withdrawal symptoms from not having seen AJ and Humanist in a while, so I'm quite happy that we managed to catch up with them once again. Every 3 minutes or so, I think we should just cut to them. Yeah.
Yeah. I like the color coordination coming out from this. Really nice. Really nice.
Looking good, boys. Keep it up.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, we're talking Crystal Taka. We're talking about Crystal Taka there. I'm a big fan of the Crystal Taka because all they really need to do is jump on Irakizaro, and there's no one that can take out a Crestro quite like a Crystal Taka. I think we've seen all the damage that Kaisan and Rexu can do when they're Crystal powered. So I think Look at Me will probably be just trying to go in with an Aftershock first and then probably Broken Myth. That seems to be quite a popular build amongst the Crystal Takas that we've seen recently, and I think it works really well, especially against a Lance, because it's going to be so difficult for that Lance to land his Impale and Githian Wall that it's going to be very easy for that Taka, and all Raxi has to do is just try and keep all three of them and all three of GankStars together, and he can use his rest and his bounces to annihilate the team, because that's how Vox works.
That is how Vox works. It can be very, very strong. GankStars again going for the double weapon power. I mean, we saw them do it in the last game, and they're doing it again here. They didn't get a big enough lead in the last game to be able to finish it out. Do you think they're going to be able to snowball well enough in this game to win with that double weapon power?
I'm not sure if I'm being... So we do see Techno JJ going for that tension bow early. I'm kind of inclined to think he'll be going for a tension bow Aftershock, because that's something we've seen a lot, especially by K-Balafar when he does play that lane land. So I think it's possible, and the way that works is you've got the kind of double proc build there. It's going to be doing a lot of damage. So I think we'll have to wait to see once he builds that tension bow if he's going to be going to that Aftershock or not. But Rakizaro going that weapon Kestrel certainly does seem to be the more popular meta build for Kestrel right now. But the problem is Sasiska on that Catherine. Sasiska, especially if you go cooldown, it's going to be so annoying for Arakizar because all he does is just continuously stun, put up the Storm Guard, and all the damage is going to reflect back, which is what Catherine does. And interestingly enough, we didn't see that many Catherines last week. It was all about Lyra, it was about Lance and Arden, and it's really great to see some Catherine getting some more kind of game time in these tournaments. We've been seeing a lot of cooldown Catherine in the rank queues in NA and EU, so I think this is what we could be seeing coming out from Sasiska today.
Something Sasiska's played for a long time. He played it at the EU Spring Split finals as well, the championships there, and that was when Catherine really wasn't in the meta at all. It was 1.18, so 1.19 has been really where we've seen a bit more Catherine, and Sasiska very strong on it, knows exactly where to position those blast tremors and get those relentless pursuits off to get the accurate stuns. It's all about being a little bit unpredictable, and I think Sasiska's very good at doing that. I think even his own team sometimes doesn't really know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's so good on that Catherine, and last game we saw Catherine seemed a little bit weak at the start, but once he got that aftershock and clockwork, things really started going really well for them. I think that's what we're going to be seeing coming out in this game, is that he just needs to get those stuns on Arakizar. But I actually quite like the pairing of Lance with Kestrel, because we do see Catherine using her trying to stun Araki. He can just use his Githian wall to push her away, and that is what they should be doing. But I don't know if it's going to happen because it does require a lot of coordination, and for Techno JJ just kind of babysit Arakizar a little bit, and for jungle laner pair that might not be working so well.
Yeah, Arakizar not in good position here, gets taken out, and now King and Techno JJ off towards the side are going to get focused down. King doing what he can on that Finn, trying to be tanky, but has to try and retreat. Techno JJ jumps in, a nice Githian wall on 3, but Fountain comes out, and now we see King the target here from Look At Me, tries to jump in with that Crystal Attacker, will be able to pick up the kill. Techno JJ, the last man standing for GankStars Cerberus, and Team Snow will just back away with the 2 early kills.
Yeah, I think that Taka pick though, I'm such a big fan of the Taka pick because it's so difficult for King and Techno JJ on that Finn and the Lance to land their skills and to Look At Me and just kind of focus him down. He's just gonna be such a bother, just dancing in and out, using his his Kaku to heal back up and kind of to negate any damage that they're doing. It's all about that Taka this game, and Sasiska and Araxi's just there kind of like a distraction, decoy, just to deal some amount of damage. It's all about Look At Me trying to take down Arakizaro here.
And he's shown us how good he is at it. Didn't pick up the first 2 kills, but definitely instrumental in them happening. Techno JJ now going to jump on, going to miss Araxi off towards the side, but Araxi takes a lot of damage and will just back away. Look At Me is going to join the rest of Team Snow here in defense of the turret, but I don't think GankStars Cerberus is going to be able to get too much out of this early push.
Yeah, we saw some really good positioning coming out there from Sasiska when we did see Araxi taking a lot of damage. He just put Storm Guard on and just walked directly in a straight line in front of Araxi, just preventing him from taking any more damage. But we do see now as GankStars Cerberus, they are going to be taking that gold mine, so that's going to be giving them quite a nice gold lead, as long as they don't get caught out there by Snow Tsunami, which they are not going to be.
Look At Me's positioning for it though. Techno JJ going to be the first man in here. The box comes out. Look At Me will just retreat. Sasiska the front line for that Team Snow side, and now getting into sort of the mid-game portion of this matchup. It's the second game of this best of 3, of course, a repeat of the semi-finals last week where we saw GankStars Cerberus taking a convincing 2-0. They had Leon there, and how much do you think the Cerberus team is missing that Leon addition?
Well, the thing is, Techno JJ, he's a fantastic player, but he mains the lane. We see him so much more comfortable in the lane position. He's played it for SK Gaming, he's played it for G2 Kingwin, and he's been playing lane a lot for GankStars Cerberus. And I don't know if he's entirely comfortable in the jungle, because it really doesn't feel that they've got entirely convincing domination of the jungle that Leon does. So I'm kind of questioning why they have him in the jungle. It might just even be better to have Leon back and just have maybe Techno replacing Arakizaro sometimes, because they're both very strong laners.
A lot of damage onto Arakizar. He will just escape with the active camo. 1-shot, 1 kill is going to hit onto Sasiska. Techno JJ the front line here for GankStars Cerberus. King has joined and does have that force to cord if he wants to try and start something. Maybe go on to Look At Me as he tries to use that Kaku to get away. They decide against the engage for now, but they're going to start pushing on towards this turret. It's going to go down very, very quickly. GankStars Cerberus have a lot of damage with that double weapon power. They take the first turret of the game, and now they can go and try and steal away some of Team Snow's jungle.
And that was a very good push there for them. So this is a much closer game than last time. And what we're seeing is the gold difference is still relatively close, and we do see Techno JJ actually going to be sticking completely to that weapon build. He's just picked up that Sour Blade as well, so there's going to be no chance of that double proc build coming out from Lance. So Pauldrons doesn't really work that well on Lance because he's got such a slow attack speed. It's all about dodging that Impel and the Githian wall there coming out from him. So I think it's certainly going to be easy for Look At Me and Araxi with their easy mobility. So Siska might not be getting such an easy time from him. So it's going to be a little bit kind of more interesting. But we do want to see them, Araxi especially, focusing a little bit more on building that armor and getting a metal plate, because he just needs to stay far away. He doesn't need to be getting up and close to kind of Pauldrons anyone at this point.
And how do you feel about the full weapon power coming out here from Techno JJ? Because you said we've seen a lot of Lancers building into that Aftershock. Actually, wait a second, because Xrexu comes out. Look At Me is very low and will get taken down straight away. So Siska now not in a great position. Araxi gets pulled in. He's going to have to try and retreat, but as you said, he hasn't got any armor, isn't going to be able to keep himself alive. So Siska, the last man standing, one shot, one kill, will not connect. Just hits the turret, so Siska dives behind his environment to keep himself alive, but GankStars Cerberus will take their second turret of the game along with 2 kills to push themselves further into the lead.
They've got such good objective control right now. They're not trying to pick up as many kills as they can. They're just focusing on getting the 3 members of Snow Tsunami as low as possible and then just pushing down those turrets. But this is very similar to what we saw last game. They took down 2 turrets really early, but Snow Tsunami were able to pull it back, because I do feel that they do have the later game advantage, especially once Siska gets some cooldown, and that Storm Crown that did so much last game. I think they can certainly be doing a lot more, because once he gets that cooldown, he can be right up in Arakizaru's face, reflecting the damage back. And if he gets some Pauldrons as well, he can slow the attack speed coming out from Arakizaru as well.
Payout collected.
Definitely do a lot of work, and he's going to need to, because it's 5,000 gold now, the difference, or 4,200. The difference between these two teams. And Look At Me had good early impact, but since then hasn't really been able to totally kill someone. He can take someone low, but not low enough to actually take them out, and that is really important in these fights.
Yeah, he just doesn't have that kind of crystal power, the delete that we kind of associate with crystal attackers. You know, we've seen a few crystal attackers. I'm a big fan of them, but they haven't been working so well in these tournaments so far. So kind of just remains to see how well it'll be doing this time. We saw the damage there coming out to Look At Me there with that kind of basic attack coming out from Techno JJ. So we do see GankStars Cerberus being very, very aggressive right now. They should continue to maintain this, because I felt like this is what didn't happen last game, is they didn't keep the aggression enough, and that's what allowed Snow Tsunami to come back, because they went further and further into the late game.
We are only 12.5 minutes in. It's been a little. It's been a little bit slow. Like it took about 7 minutes for the first couple of kills, and then second set of kills came about 10 minutes. Had a couple of gold miners go down, but when you've got a team with like a Lance who's building that tension bow, you expect a little bit more aggression, and really GankStars Cerberus are just slowly eking away at these towers, taking them down by one, letting the Kestrel do that long range poke damage, and now they're starting to push into the jungle of Team Snow and take away advantage after advantage and push Team Snow back into their base.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. And they're doing it so well because Techno JJ, he's this incredibly tanky jungler in that Lance, as well as Emer King, you know, probably one of the tankiest roamers out there, acting as an excellent frontline for Arakizaru. Nobody's actually getting the chance to dive onto Arakizaru that much, which is exactly what they need to kind of keep forcing this advantage over and over again. And as I said, it's all about when the Siska will get that cooldown, when he can go in, because once he gets in, he can just be continually in his face, but we're not seeing that yet. And I'm still holding out hope for Snow Tsunami, because this is very similar to what we saw last game. And it's when he gets that cooldown as well, the cooldowns for his Blast Tremor and Araxi's, wait for it, the double silence, they'll be using that really, really effectively in the team fights if they can chain them and completely stop GankStars Cerberus from using any of their skills.
I don't think they're going to get the opportunity to do that, though. I think GankStars Cerberus are playing this a little bit more patiently, a little bit safer. They're not going to go for the jump across the wall and try and take down the turret along with the crystal move. They're accepting that this is the second game. You need to win this game to go through. The fourth accord comes out. Irakizaru, the target. Wait for it, it's been popped, as has the Blast Tremor, but Look At Me, he's going to get taken down very quickly in this fight. He survives. He's off towards the side. Irakizaru goes down. Look At Me very low. He'll get taken out as well. Now Techno JJ is going to try and chase onto Siska. It's time for rolling. It's time for rooting. Siska is trying to retreat away, and Techno JJ and Emer King will let him get away for now as they go and try and take this gold mine before the Kraken spawns.
Yeah, it's gonna give them a lot of gold, and you know we know that they're ready, that they are at a 5k gold advantage. And the thing is with that fight, it just felt like Look At Me wasn't doing anything, and I think that might be the problem with the Crystal Tackler. Although he is very good, is that he does have to rely on his skills a lot, and when the cooldown's not for them, he can't do much much damage with those basic attacks. He's got the aftershock, which does give a little bit more, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. He just did not feel like he was doing anything that last fight, and I've got to say the positioning for Axie seemed a little bit too in the middle of everything. He's got that. He can reposition himself and just pull a little bit back, but he was just stuck in the middle of it, which I think was a big problem in that last fight.
It's one of the difficulties playing into a Finn as well. So good at repositioning you. If you're not in the right position at the start, if you don't dodge out the polite company or the forced accord, it can be very difficult for you to reposition as the fight progresses, especially with Look At Me trying to jump onto that backline, because everyone's in the same position. A good Crucible there will stop the forced accord. It looks like he used that fountain as well, actually, and now Iraqi Zoro the target, so Siska's going to try and jump in. Araxi again in the middle of the fight will try and dodge away. He goes very low. He's fighting up against Techno JJ, who will knock him into the wall. So Siska, the only man left standing here for Team Snow, and it's going to be Catherine just running for her life. Iraqi Zoro's going to chase, gets one glimmer shot down. He's going to keep going for it, almost dies there to the shield. But so Siska now rooted, impaled, stunned in... Oh, actually, there's a counter stun going on to Techno JJ. So Siska's still trying to retreat. Actually might be able to get away from this one. And it looks like Ema King and Iraqi Zoro have accepted the fact you might get away. One shot, one kill will not get the kill. They're going to turn towards the Kraken.
Yeah, that was, we saw such a promising engage coming out from Snow Tsunami there, but what went wrong was we saw Araxi missing his weight for it. We saw the GankStars Cerberus just quickly repositioning, managed to dodge it, and then what happened was Araxi just got kind of, like you said, just right in the middle of everything. He couldn't really do much, and then he got caught by the active camo paired with the glimmer shot, which just took so much damage from him, and that just quickly turned into a very bad fight for them.
Yeah, Kraken has just gone down for GankStars Cerberus, but Look At Me and the rest of Snow are trying to get a fight here. Iraqi Zoro is low, Ema King the target, Xretsu onto Iraqi Zoro, but he'll survive for now. The fountain comes out and Sosiska's going to try and chase onto Iraqi Zoro and Techno JJ. Iraqi Zoro should fall, and they're going to see if they can get Techno. They won't be able to chase him under his turret, so they pick up two. The Kraken is already pushing towards their base, but they should be able to stop it from getting this turret.
That was a nice fight there going. They were able to pick up the 2 kills in Iraqi Zoro, and what I liked was that we saw Iraqi Zoro, once he realized he was definitely going to die, he was just turned back, just kind of increasing the distance between him and Techno JJ, the other carry there, and just letting him retreat to safety, preventing that ace, which could have been easily picked up if he hadn't done that. We do see that Kraken going in, but I don't think it's going to get a turret there, so it's going to be an easy 500 gold there going towards Snow Tsunami, which isn't really what GankStars Cerberus will be looking for at this point.
They'll still be about 5,000 gold in the lead, which is all right for them. So 4,500, so they'll take it. But we saw there, again, GankStars Cerberus in the first game were a little bit greedy, stayed around a little bit too long and just took a bit too much. And then this game as well, they got a good fight off. Yes, so Siska was still alive, but by the time they got to Kraken, Look At Me and Araxi were already on the way. And although they got the Kraken, they were just going to lose out the fight straight afterwards.
Yeah, so 4.5k gold, and I think they're looking for another fight, because that fight went quite well for them, so I think they're going to be going in for another fight. We do see GankStars Cerberus going in there for the potential engage. That impel does miss, and Sun will take it away.
Well, what I'm going to take away is the fact that if you miss an impale, you can't really get a fight. It's a good life lesson for me. Thank you very much, Shinyi.
So good for them.
Educational today.
Very educational. That's a mistake I'll never make again. I'm sorry.
I'm not here to teach. Here to cast.
Yes. So sorry.
If I could do that as well, it'd be great. Anyway, GankStars Cerberus are gonna position off towards where the Kraken will spawn in just a couple of minutes. Sosiska and the rest of Team Snow moving themselves forward, but Sosiska up towards the front here, gonna get polite company, gonna get impaled, gonna get taken very low, and now he pushes onto Iraqi Zoro. Araxi and Look At Me are gonna see what they can do. Look At Me's jumped in, Iraqi Zoro's down, and this is great. Impale comes out, it hits Look At Me. Araxi's still alive, up towards the side, and Techno JJ will take him down. Look At Me's gonna try and get the kill onto this Techno JJ, but the polite company is enough, and GankStars Cerberus once again win the fight.
Yeah, that was not great for Look at Me there. He got caught between Lance and a wall, and you could just continue to impale him into that wall, knock him to the wall. That was just not going to be easy for him at all, and they were very able to quickly pick up the kill there. But we did see what happened was a really nice blast tremor coming out from Sasiska, stopping Arakizar from using his glimmer shots, and that why I think was able to focus him down so quickly. Though because Techno JJ is so tanky, it's going to be very difficult for Look at Me to try and shut him down fairly quickly. So I think that's why. That kind of the last kill there didn't go so well for Look at Me, because Techno JJ is just so strong, got a lot of damage, and so tanky there at the same time.
Yeah, it's Araxi's job to deal with Ema King and Techno JJ. It's Look at Me's job to try and take down Arakizar, and he's doing it pretty well. He's getting him quite low, but I feel the closeness of these fights, because they're all in these choke points where you're coming down from the lane, you're not in an open position like around the Kraken. You have an open position and Team Snow win the fight because it means they can reposition a lot better. Look at Me can duck and dodge around, Araxi can dodge around as well, and what GankStars want is everyone to be grouped up, because then it means Force the Chord's a lot easier to hit. Polite Company's going to hit all three members. You're going to get easy damage out from the Impale, and the Githian walls can be really strong as well. If you can split them up a little bit and have a more open fight, it really plays into Team Snow's favour.
Yeah, I definitely agree, but I think also close favorite. The close spaces, they're good for both teams because it's so much easier for Araxi to land his weight for it, and the resonance bounces to kind of bounce off everyone because they can't move as much. But also, you're right. There's advantage for closed and open speed, and Araxi there going to be caught out again.
Yeah, he jumps in. Irakizar is going very low off towards the backside of this. Look at Me, he's going to try and take him down. Irakizar is going to survive though, and now Araxi's going to get taken out by two members of GankStars. Irakizar goes down. Look at Me, the last man, along with Sasiska, who can try and take down Techno JJ. Techno JJ should be able to kill Sasiska. Techno JJ will pick up the kill there, and for once, it's not the Catherine left alive for Team Snow. It's Look at Me on that Taka. Wasn't able to clean up the fight, but was able to survive.
Yeah, I'm so surprised by the Metal Jacket on Look at Me, not because it is a good pickup, because it does offer a lot of armor, but because he's the one jumping on Arakizar, who's got a fair amount of attack speed there with that breaking point. He's in a great position to get right onto Arakizar and Pauldrons him and slow down his attack speed. So I'm kind of wondering if why Metal Jacket and not Pauldrons, because Arakizar is his main target here and not Lance, who Pauldrons won't really do much against. So I just think that's an interesting point, and kind of would you like to find out more about the thinking about that?
Yeah, I can't explore their minds while we're commentating, but afterwards
I'm sure we can. Why can't you be a mind reader?
I know, I try so hard.
You can't be a teacher, you can't be a mind reader, what are you?
I just can't do much, in all honesty. 7 kills to 10 is the scoreline in this game, and Team Snow are fighting to try and win this best of 3 in 2. Of course, they took the first game in incredible fashion, in all honesty. More of GankStars Cerberus going for the backdoor, going for the outplay and not quite landing it. But this time, they are slowly eking out the life in this game. One shot, one kill, not going to connect to Siska. And Look at Me, along with Araxi, going to try and reposition for this fight. The flares come out and they will spot out Team Snow. But we see Team Snow going to try and get around the side here. They're seeing if they can reposition. Araxi gets to the shop, does walk through that scout trap though, so they will know exactly where they are. GankStars Cerberus going to push forward once again. The players come out, and here is the fight. We see the engage from Sasiska. Techno JJ, the target for now. Look at Me, he's going to try and get onto Irakizora, and there he goes. Irakizora is very low. Will he get taken out by that attacker? Not quite. And Techno JJ is taking out Araxi in a 1v1 fight. Now Irakizora the target. Look at Me, he's going to try and jump in again with the X-Retsu, but Irakizora survives once again. And Sasiska, Force the Chord's not going to land. Sasiska will try and retreat his way away. But there's 3 members of GankStars Cerberus left on the fold, and they're going to turn their attentions towards the Kraken.
I feel so sorry for Araxi. He is getting focused down so hard every single time. Oh, poor him. He just gets caught by everything. What we saw in that fight was that, Arakizar was so low, but then he just kind of used his boost, got away really quickly, and just chased after Araxi with Techno JJ and Emer King, where they just focus on Araxi. And then Look at Me was having energy problems because he's just got the aftershock, and because he relies so much on his skills, he needs a lot of kind of energy regeneration, which he doesn't really have. And I think that was a big problem there. He didn't have the skills, he couldn't get the damage down, and he went down, and Sasiska was the one left alive there with mostly full health, not being able to help much at this point, because otherwise we'll be giving them an ace. And now what we see here is GankStars Cerberus. They've got the Kraken, they are going to be pushed down into the last 3 turrets there of Snow. So I have to agree with you. I think GankStars Cerberus are looking in a really good position to finish the game now.
Yeah, I think they definitely can. They've got the Kraken. They've already taken down that one turret, so the Kraken only needs to get through 2. Araxi going to try and defend, but at the moment, Team Snow really don't have the skills or the utility to be able to take down this GankStars Cerberus team. It's the same team fight time and time again. Look at me, tries to jump onto Iraqi Zoro. He survives, and then Araxi just can't do anything versus Techno JJ. He gets taken out as well. It means that Team Snow try and jump in once again, and once again, look at me, tries to get onto Iraqi Zoro and doesn't take him down, and now Sasiska is in front. There's the Force Accord on 3. Araxi's low. Iraqi Zoro will go down though. Look at me, takes him out. But now it's Araxi and Sasiska versus Ema King and Techno JJ. The Kraken's already getting the turret. Araxi can't do anything. Sasiska ran away once again, and Kraken will take down this first turret. The Crystal will be next, and Sasiska will not be able to defend versus these 2 members of GankStars Cerberus, supplied as well with assistance by that Kraken. It's going to be 1-on-1 in this best of 3 between Team Snow Tsunami and GankStars Cerberus, and what a second game it was.
Exactly, I completely agree. That was such a good game there coming out from GankStars Cerberus. Like you said, they played a lot more patiently this time. They played the double weapon, and they're so good in their target focus, taking down Araxi every single time, and just kind of ignoring Look at Me, who should have been like the main kind of damage dealer coming out from Snow Tsunami, but really wasn't. And Araxi just got focused on every single time, leaving Sasiska Look at Me in a very kind of precarious position.
Position where she kites and zones out. It could also be a heavy engage comp where you use the portal, get in their face. So
Portal over the wall, try to backdoor.
That's something you can do. It doesn't always work, though. So let's see. What do you think Snow's going to go for next up here?
Well, my guess is that they're not going to have the core Lance, but the Lance Kestrel, we've seen this. This is like one of the combos that you've had that core Lance. So it's really going to have to depend basically what comes out of this of these next gold picks out of GankStars. If they need mobility, I imagine you're going to see Lance go into that roam position. You pick something else up. Otherwise, if it's going to be kind of a clumpy fighting scenario for Snow, they'd be doing just fine to go ahead and pick up a Finn, round that out. Skye comes out for GankStars, so that's going to be their heavy damage output. Now they need that control, and I wouldn't be surprised to see something like a Glaive, as you mentioned before, unless this Lyra transitions into lane.
It's interesting. I wonder what they are going to go for here. I mean, Snow Tsunami, they're ramping up to pick the same composition that GankStars just used. They could go for a Finn here, right?
Yep.
And actually, I think that would be quite good. Maybe not quite as good. I think the Skye is going to do better than the Vox at positioning herself, especially with Lyra on her side. But actually, it's going to be a pedal again. Look at me, likely to be playing that.
Woo!
We did talk about its effect in both teams have got drafts I'm sure they're very happy with, so let's head on to the Halcyon Fold with Dr. Sona and Jing Yi for this third and final game of the series.
Thank you very much, Action Jackson and Humanist. It's pedal to the metal here for Team Snow. Will they be able to beat GankStars Cerberus in this final game of the best of 3? That's the big question. It's 1-on-1 apiece at the moment. GankStars showing great stuff in the last game to equalize the series. What do you think, Zinyi? Who's going to take this game 3?
Oh, I cannot say, but Petal has been a hero that's worked so well for Look at Me at the Live Championships and in the first game of the series so far. So I'm kind of tempted to say Snow Tsunami. Look at Me seems so comfortable in that, and especially with Sasiska on the Lance, who he actually is very good on that Lance. You know, he's really impressed me with his performance on Lance in the Live Championships as well. But you know, GankStars Cerberus, they've got a really good composition, especially with that Lyra who's been doing so well so far. So I don't know. It's really hard to say actually.
It's very difficult to say. What I like about this composition coming out from Snow is it's very, from GankStars, sorry, is it would be very tempting to jump into the same composition that Snow had with the, instead of having the Skye, having the Vox there. But what they've done by having the Skye against a Lance, Skye's so much better at repositioning than a Vox is. Like, it's so easy for you to jump around with the Suri Strike and reposition yourself around a Lance. In the last game, we saw how great the Lance was at cutting out that Vox from the fight. Yes, it was a carry Lance, but it's still the same idea. And here it's going to be even more difficult to do that into a Skye because of her ability to reposition in the fights.
Yeah. I completely agree with you, and it's also because there's also Taka on the team. Taka and Skye are some of the most mobile heroes in the game. They can dodge those attacks, they can dodge the Impel and the Githian Wall. He's going to have such a hard time landing them, and to be honest, the only person he can really have a good time landing them on is Emer King, who can really, you know, use a snare and stop those those bursts of damage. It's going to be really
Speaking
tough.
Of bursts of damage, yeah, Iraqi Zoro taking that down a little bit. Bursts of everything.
Bursts of everything, that's right.
You see already, Techno JJ trying to do some counter jungling, taking away some of those camps from the side of Team Snow, because Snow were trying to be aggressive. They put some pressure down onto Ema King, but he's able to survive quite nicely. And Ema King back onto that Lyra roam. It's an interesting position for him, because we saw him work quite well most of the game in the last game, but as they got later into the matchup, they struggled a little bit with this Lyra to keep alive when Team Snow were actually jumping on top of them.
Yeah, because she is quite squishy. You know, she's more of a backline who actually does have a lot of potential for engage and disengages. She's still very squishy, and it's actually very easy to focus her down and take her down. If you can just burst her down and just ignore that Imperial Sigil. Sigil? I am not very sure.
I think it's Sigil. It's a Sigil.
Okay. Thank you for teaching me. Wisdom is amazing. But that's the thing about you've got a very mobile team. Ema King is also a portal as well. It's going to make it even more difficult.
Ema King's dead. Ema King is dead. You can't portal when you're dead. That makes it even more difficult for you.
You also
a nice
can't
little
portal.
You can't portal, yeah. Can't portal when you're dead.
Very true. But I really do like what Techno JJ is doing there. You know, he's counter jungling as you said before, and what we really need to see coming out of Snow Tsunami, putting out those mines under those camps, so they know exactly where he is and all the time, so they can potentially counter invade as well into their side, which they're not really doing as much because they don't have the vision. So I think that's something they need to kind of focus on a little bit more.
Yeah, most definitely. And I think both these teams are going to have some tension on their shoulders as well. Last time this was a semi-final matchup. Now it's the first round of the EVIL 8. How much do you think that's going to play into their mind?
Probably quite a lot, because last time Snow Tsunami they lost, and GankStars Cerberus they had a very confident win, and this time it's certainly probably given Snow Tsunami the confidence boost, knowing probably that Leon isn't on the team and that they're in a 1-1 situation, so things are already looking up for them in that respect. And also GankStars Cerberus, they're at the very top right now with 8 points, and Snow Tsunami they have 1 point. They're really looking to try and get this win and move on to into the semi-finals and get those points that they need.
Yeah, they already get a point from getting one game in this best of 3, so that's nice for them, but obviously want as many points as they can get. Araxi focused down a little bit here by Iraqi Zoa and Techno JJ. Forward barrage does come out, but Siska positioning off towards the side is going to see if he can catch out Techno as he goes for that little bit of counter jungling. Ema King getting that arcane auto attack off. Principal Arcanum is what it's called. And we'll just slow him down a little bit, but here comes the fight. Look at me, he's going to jump in. Techno JJ is going to jump back though, and look at me, he's going to go down. The petal in the forest gets taken out very quickly, so Siska retreats. Araxi's going to take a little bit of hurt as well as Iraqi Zoa and Ema King come in. The forward barrage onto Araxi. Series strike is not quite enough. Oh, Ema King! That's an Imperial Sigil for the ages as he picks up a kill for GankStars Cerberus.
Nicely done there. Being very nice to pick up the kill. I thought the kind of the basic attack was going to pick up the kill there, but that Imperial Sigil there, very nicely done. And what I really liked, we saw Look at Me getting caught in that bulwark, preventing the escape and from him using the trampoline. So that was really nicely done. That was an easy kill there, and Techno JJ was, very effective in taking them down. So this game's still quite close, 2, 3, 5 minutes in, and the gold is staying very, very close for now. I think, this is going to be one of those slow games where it's going to be going either way the whole time.
There's a lot of action. I mean, last game it was 7 minutes before we even had a kill, and we've got 5 kills at 5 minutes here, so these teams being a little bit more aggressive with their compositions at the moment.
Yeah, and I think they definitely do need to be a bit more aggressive. They can be a bit more aggressive, especially the side of Snow Tsunami. I think they've got a much better early game comp, especially with Araxi.
One shot, one kill. Nicely done. Saw the rest of the team Snow coming around the corner, but Araxi did not need their help as he picks up the first kill. It's a Crystal Sky in the lane here with a weapon power Tacker. So erring away from the Team Snow composition, which was of course the Crystal Tacker. Here, Techno JJ going for that weapon power. How's that going to affect them as they get later into this game?
The thing with weapon attacking, he produces more consistent results. We've seen a lot of attackers who've played mostly weapons, some crystals, and I feel like although crystals usually a good pick in the circumstances, they're just not executed very well. And I think weapon attack is a bit more safer option to go, and especially if you can keep those key stacks up, he can be outputting a lot of damage once he gets that Sorrow Blade, but he's not really doing much right now.
Death from above does come down here from Iraqi Zoa. He's positioned right in the middle of Team Snow. Techno JJ went very, very low. Now Iraqi Zoa, the target, is Look at Me and the team turn it around. The fountain comes out, but it's very late, and Techno JJ will go down. Team Snow 5-2 up in this final game of the best of 3.
Yeah, and I've got to point one thing out. I think Iraqi Zoa into look at me. So those minions can be so effective at body blocking the forward barrage that I think maybe Irakizora should probably just kind of overdrive the death from above instead and just use it to zone more and not rely on the forward barrage as much unless he knows he can get onto Araxi every single time. Because look at me on that pedestal, it's such a fantastic counter to Sky, and he's going to be having a really tough time, especially right now. He's trying to get around pedestal, and he's going to have to rely a lot more on that Suri Strike to reposition and build up those breaking point stacks, broken myth stacks.
Very difficult as well for Ema King to escape this Snow Tsunami lineup. As soon as they get on top of him, you've got Lance with the Impale, the Githian Wall, you've got the Munions pounding away at you, you've got Araxi who can use that active camo for the movement speed, can Glimmer Shot, Glimmer Shot, Glimmer Shot, one shot, one kill. It's just very difficult for him to survive, and we already see he's 1-3 in this game. Really not playing as well on that Lyra as he did in the first game of this best of 3.
Yeah, he's getting caught out a lot, especially Cisica, who has actually managed to land his Impale on him quite a few times, and that's certainly been a big issue. He needs to get a reflex bot potentially to block that from happening so often, or just kind of think about their positioning a little bit more, because he is getting caught out, and as the squishiest kind of like person there, it's very easy for him to be caught out.
Definitely is easy for him to be caught out, and it's easy at the moment for Team Snow. They've taken an advantage, they've got the gold mine as well, so they're about 2,000 gold ahead. Picking up their first real item spikes. We've got the Shatterglass onto Look at Me. You've got Solar Blade as well finished onto Araxi. So nice itemization from them. And they've got that fountain picked up onto Siska. However, on the other side, we see similar item spikes being hit. So that gold not really paying off too much at the moment, not giving them those big items, but maybe giving them the big kills. As Ema King goes very, very low. Death from above is huge though, and Araxi is going to go down. No, Fountain is enough. Techno JJ trying to get onto Araxi, who uses the active camo to keep himself alive. Forward barrage comes out from Irakizora, and surprisingly, no one goes down in that fight as Team Snow managed to retreat.
Yeah, I think both teams had to use their fountains, which is why they managed to stay alive. And we did see Petal, look at me on that Petal, using the spontaneous combustion to heal himself back up and his surrounding allies as well. And that was, I thought that was, I'm actually also very surprised that there were no kills picked up there. It looked so good for GankStars Cerberus. It looked like they were almost going to take Araxi down there. But we saw Araxi using his active cam to try and zone Techno JJ away, because Techno JJ doesn't really want to be stunned by that, and it was going to be a very easy stun, so he had to dodge away and allow Araxi to heal up. So that was probably a big turning point in that fight, allowing both teams to disengage from that point onwards.
The death from above positioning was absolutely beautiful from Irakizora.
Definitely.
Called out 3 members of Team Snow, and it shows that if we get to sort of the 15-minute mark where Irakizora has a couple of more items underneath his belt, maybe that broken myth, he's absolutely going to melt through this Team Snow lineup if they group up like that again.
Yeah, definitely. Well, mine's just sitting there, and Araxi just keeps walking around it in a perfect circle, so I don't know if he actually knows if it's there or not. So I just find that quite funny. But, there seemed to be, we were saying so at the start, it was going so aggressively, there's lots of action happening. It just seems like there's still a lot of action happening, but there's not a lot coming out as a result of that, and I think they really need to start pushing those objectives a little bit more, because as it stands right now, Snow Tsunami do have that expert's heart down, but I'm not seeing them really push. There's that gold mine in there that's looking very full. They're not taking any team fights to try and contest that right now. So I feel like we're kind of hitting a lull in the gameplay right now.
Can't really blame the teams though. They're going to be nervous. It's the final game of the best of 3. Like, everyone knows that this is a really important position in the fight, and once again GankStars Cerberus are just going to position off towards the side, and both the teams very apprehensive in the way they're playing. You can see how defensive they are. They're both experienced on this sort of stage. They know what's on the line at the moment, and GankStars Cerberus, yes, they've already got 8 points under their belt, but they won't want to give up points that they can take into the next round of the Evil 8 and continue through this tournament. You don't want to give up your advantages, and neither team at the moment are showing any signs of weakness.
Yeah, well, Snow Tsunami don't seem to be at risk of relegation just yet. It depends on how the other games will be playing out. But if they do fall to one of those bottom 3 spots, they are going to be relegated down to the Challengers League, which I'm sure they really don't want to be doing. So they are really giving it all in these fights here, and I think that's, they are being a little bit more nervous. They're playing a lot more cautiously, because as we're hitting the mid and late game, this is where the kind of the mistakes affect the gameplay a little bit more.
Ema King jumps in with that passage, and now Irakizora off towards the side. The Impale misses. Irakizora goes very low, but will just about survive. The forward barrage is not enough. He repositions with the Suri Strike and will get taken down. Araxi trying to do everything he can with the stutter stepping, but Techno JJ will survive for now. He's going to try and retreat off towards his turret. Gets knocked into the wall. One more auto will be enough. The Munions take him down. The Onions get the kill, and now Ema King, he's allergic to onions. He'll get taken out as well in just a second. Oh no! Survives. Ema King got over his allergy there.
Oh no!
Look at me!
Oh.
all the way to the fountain, not able to take him out, and they do just manage to get out of that one.
A little bit too many allergies in this game for my liking, I'm afraid. Non-stop sneezing, as you said earlier. So I think we just saw Araxi there picking up that tornado trigger. That's gonna be giving that kind of more critical chance potential from those attack damages. And so far, Techno JJ, he's building that cold plates. He doesn't really have that pauldrons yet, so there's no risk of Araxi's attack speed being slowed down, which is probably what he kind of fears the most right now. So it's looking really good for Snow Tsunami to push that a little bit more until they know that Techno JJ gets that pauldrons, in which case things are gonna be a little bit more sticky for them. We've seen that gold mine being flared, and I don't know if I can contest that right now.
I feel like you kind of have to fight it soon, because it's getting to the point where it's been full for long enough that you're not going to get another one up before the Kraken spawns, and if you can get it now, then another one will be full enough for you to take before that Kraken spawns. Of course, not the biggest difference in the world, but it's about getting those incremental advantages. And here comes the fight. Look at me, goes down straight away. Techno JJ on that attacker, taking him out in the back line. Really nicely played by him to pick up the kill. It's 4-8. Araxi takes almost a full forward barrage to the face, and so Cisco will just roll away. And now GankStars Cerberus go for the gold mine.
Yeah, with all three members alive, Araxi, I think he's in a good position to. Well, he doesn't actually have that the one shot, one kill up yet, but he can certainly take it with one of those glimmer shots. But I don't know if they want to be going in because his weapon infusion just wore off. So I think that's why they're going to be backing away for now and just letting them have that 300 gold apiece while they just clear the lane and push it out a little bit more. So things are looking remarkably even now with 1k gold difference between the two teams. We're seeing Arakizaro there with a Shardglass and the Broken Myth. He does have to be careful of just staying away from that Kestrel, who's got a lot of weapon damage because he currently has very little defense. Well, I guess either Look at Me or Araxi. So he's got to be careful and just rely on Emer King and Techno just kind of that be the front line.
I think we have to think about the team that these teams are going to play in the next round as well. We'll go through to the semi-finals tomorrow. It's the winner of this match versus the winner of Secret and Lemon and Lime, which I don't feel it's unfair to say that's most likely going to be Team Secret, although in last week they only got 3rd place after their dominant performance at the Spring Championships. Now, at the moment, looking at both these teams, I don't see either of them beating Team Secret. I know that it's difficult to judge, but Team Secret have shown how consistently they play as a synergistic unit. They play together so well. Neither of these teams are really showing me their teamwork to that degree at the moment. And Emer King gets caught out once again. He's going to get taken out. Arakizaro there as well. So Siska's going to try and jump on towards him. Death from above will stun him up and won't quite be able to chase him down for now. They do take down Emer King, but that's another example of it. Emer King there over positioning, not with his team, and it meant that Team Snow were able to pick out a kill.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. I feel like Snow Tsunami are potentially the two are the more synergized ones. They're working as a unit. They're moving as a 3 throughout the jungle, which is what you need. That way, they're not going to be caught out on their own. They're in a great position to engage and disengage all the time. And we're not seeing this come out from GankStars Cerberus so far, especially with that Emer King being caught out earlier, just kind of losing them valuable time there. And I completely agree with you. That's done on Arakizaro there and Techno JJ. It's not going to do too much though, with thanks to Imperial Sigil coming out from Lyra.
How much do you think they're missing Leon as well? Because we've got Techno JJ jungling for them, as you said, and he's had a good game this game, but a couple of the last games perhaps hasn't been as effective as he'd like him to. Emer King gets caught out, Imperial Sigil goes down, Techno JJ trying to do what he can in the front line, and here comes Arakizaro. Emer King is low, he might get taken out. No, the forward barrage from the side, so Siska knocks him down, and here comes Araxi. Techno JJ is dead. Arakizaro in between 3 members of Team Snow. He'll get knocked into the wall. It's a Githian wall. It's a mortal wall for Arakizaro as he gets taken out. And Team Snow once again clean up the fight. Only the Roam left alive. Emer King off towards the side. They can go for the turret. It looks like instead they're going to go for the Kraken here.
Yeah, and it just he felt like in that last time when they were kind of focusing on Arakizaro, Emer King was just decided like, should I go home or should I do anything? Should I just go and help? And as a result, he wasn't doing anything at all, and that was a big mistake. And Arakizaro getting caught there by that Githian wall, being slammed into the wall and being easily focused down. So things are looking so good for Snow Tsunami right now as they're taking that Kraken down.
Just about go down for them now. No contestation from GankStars Cerberus. And let's have a quick look across the items as the Kraken has just fallen for Team Snow. You've got Shatterglass, Broken Myth finished on Arakizaro. You've got the Contraption on Emer King along with that Fountain and the War Treads. Blade and Bonesaw on Techno JJ, but look at the other side. You've got so many big items approaching completion. Broken Myth, you've got the Shatter Glass, you've got Blade, you've got Tornado Trigger. Such a good itemization position here for Team Snow. And with the Kraken, you have to expect they can try and take the Crystal with this push.
Yeah, and they've got that Imperial Sigil there right now, but I don't know if they're King teleporting right there. I'm not sure that's the best idea to do. Irakizar gets so quiet.
Irakizar is dead. King tries to escape, but look at me, he's just going to chase him down. Techno JJ off towards the side. Look at me trying to chase him out with the Munions. The Kraken is still pushing on towards the turret here. Techno JJ's trying to escape off towards the side. Araxi's going to chase him down. He does Kaku. One shot, one kill is not going to connect, but the Kraken is still in the base of GankStars Cerberus. This is the final game of the best of 3, remember. GankStars Cerberus might get knocked out in the first round of the Evil 8 this week. Last week they were the winners. This week they might be the losers and they might get taken out here. King, Techno JJ and Irakizar are trying to defend. Look at me, we'll get taken down just towards the side, but the Crystal's down to half. The Kraken's still alive. Can GankStars Cerberus keep it alive? They cannot, as Sasiska's going to take it down with the Kraken. It's a 2-1 for Team Snow as they take the win, and they'll be advancing to the semi-finals tomorrow.
And what an excellent result that is going to be for Snow Tsunami. Sasiska being the last one left alive again, but he was the one that helped finish it all off, so I think we can't blame him there. And I think that just shows, GankStars Cerberus, they haven't dropped, for them to think about for the next week, as we are going to be playing this out for a few weeks. So, and Snow Tsunami, they really pulled out all the stops, so they did play really well. They had a few kind of moments where they did flag a little.